This is your boy Chris Rebeat back with another video. Listen, today I want to answer the question, should producers only focus on one genre of music making? I think this is a really important question, especially if you're just now starting off making beats, or you're just now becoming a music producer, or if you have been producing for a while but you might find yourself stuck or might find yourself in a rut. I think that the interesting part about answering this question is that it really can go either way. If you are the type of producer that has always made trap, for example, and you find yourself with beat block, you find yourself stuck in a rut, it might be beneficial for you to make other genres of music. And that can go the same for the opposite. If you find yourself always being a trap producer, it might just be better for you to just stay producing that one genre, because then you can continue to strengthen and continue to hone in your craft with making that kind of music. So I think it really can go either way. But first, I want to kind of talk about it in terms of the beginner. Right. So as a beginner, if you're just now starting off making beats, you're just now starting off as a music producer, what I've heard in the past and what I've heard other music producers say is that you should probably focus on creating a niche, creating a lane, and creating a sound. And a lot of that has to do with creating or producing one particular type of music or one particular type of genre. And I know that there are some benefits and there are some drawbacks to only limiting yourself to one particular kind of genre. But this is what I have heard other producers say in the past, because when it comes to developing a sound or having a unique sound that people know they can go to you for that sound, that is going to be very beneficial to you when it comes time to selling your beats, or when it comes time to marketing your beats. It becomes very easy for you to market your beats because people already know you as that one kind of producer. If you're a funk producer, or if you're a funk producer, if you are a drill, R&B drill, or sexy drill, as I hear that they're calling it, type of producer, if you are a trap producer, if you are hip hop or a boom bap, to be more specific, type of producer, if you're a sample producer, right? Like being able to have that one moniker of type of producer in the front of you being a producer, that's going to really go a long way as a beginner and as a newcomer making beats. That's going to do a lot for you. Now, somebody could say that the drawback is the opposite side, whereas now you are pigeon-toed or you are bottlenecked into this one particular type of sound. And that can get stale. That can get boring. It can get uninteresting very quickly. Even if it's like the type of music that you love to make, love to listen to, it can just get boring over time. And as well as you can just lack creativity, because once you've done your 1,000th hi-hat roll on 1/64th, I mean, like, how many more can you really do? Like, it's not changing. I guess you can move up to 1/28th, and literally that has been how music has gone in terms of certain styles and certain styles and certain techniques of music. It's just, we just change one thing about it. Maybe we do it faster, we do it slower, or, we change something about it. But in general, it's still pretty much the same sound, whether you're doing all 1/16th hi-hats or you're adding in those hi-hat rolls. At the end of the day, it's still pretty much the same sound. So that's a drawback, because now you're limited to, only that style of music, right? And like, if you're known for that style of music, that could be good, but it also can be damaging, because now you're known as the boom bap hip hop producer, but you got this artist who's a R&B artist, and now they're not looking your way at all. They're not thinking about you at all, because they know that you only make boom bap hip hop. So for you as a beginner, that just becomes your deciding factor. That becomes the thing that you need to use in order to answer the question, do I want to be that? Do I want to only be one particular style genre of music, because that's the kind of artist that I want to cater to, or that's the kind of artist that I want to supply for my music, right? Or, that's the kind of music that I want to make. It even can go so far as to say, well, I don't want to have artists on my music at all. I just want to be like, other kind of producers and only create instrumental music or lo-fi music, for example. Well, even that, there are some really popular people and music producers that's all they create is lo-fi. They just make lo-fi beats, and they've made a career for themselves just creating lo-fi beats. So it doesn't really matter that certain artists are not looking for lo-fi beats, or that different genre artists, because they're not concerned with artists at all. They're only concerned with the listener. And so I guess in another way that it can be a drawback is some things are fads and some things like come and go. When it comes to certain kinds of music, like it sounds like it'll be around forever, and then that's never the case. Sometimes the music comes and the music goes. No one is creating snap music like the way that it was very popular back in the day, when there was a whole lot of Soulja Boy Crank That, when there was a whole lot of the Laffy Taffy song. Like, you would think that that music would be around forever. And if you were a snap music producer, like today, there could still be people looking for that kind of music, but at a large scale, snap music it's not there, right? It's not something that stood the test of time. It was just very popular for that time and for those artists. But new age artists or artists, modern artists from today's time is not necessarily going to look for the snap music, or even listeners for that matter. There might be certain listeners in certain areas that really look forward toward snap music. They're like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of music I want to listen to. I want to dance. I want to have fun. And so that's what I'm listening for. If you're not looking for artists and you're just looking for listeners, that still can be a little, holding you back, because not a lot of listeners are, searching for that kind of music. And it can go the opposite way too. Stuff that's very popular today doesn't mean that it's going to stay popular as time goes on. It could be the case that people fall off from that type of music. As I said, the very sassy, dancey, sexy drill that's popping right now, that a lot of people are kind of getting into, and they are, bending the genre to fit this new style of music. Right now it's very popular, but if you focused in and you're only that kind of producer, that could be damaging to your that could be damaging to you, or it could be beneficial to you. You could get a lot of sales, you could get a lot of listeners, you can get a lot of collaborations, because right now that's a genre that a lot of people are looking for. But on the other end, let's look at it from a positive. So I was looking at it from like some drawbacks of being a singular genre producer. Some positives of being a single genre producer, as I said before, now people know you for being that kind of music. They know, okay, boom, I know I can go to this artist, I can go to this producer, and I can get this specific beat. And I used to say that, I'll give you some examples. I used to say that about DJ Mustard, for example. I used to say, oh, DJ Mustard, yeah, that's where you go when you want to get like the Rack City type beat. Because for a long time, that's how his beats sounded. They sounded pretty much like that style. There was a lot of claps and snaps, 808s, very low 808s, very low frequency 808s, and then just a very, catchy melody line. And for the most part, a lot of his songs kind of had the same, feel, the same vibe. So it's like, oh, you could get a DJ Mustard type beat and people could be recognizable. That's a big thing when you are the singular person creating this sound and you have that unique sound. Now you have something people can search for, something people can look for, because you only create that kind of music. You only create that genre, and you then are able to create that very unique sound. Like, people know it's not because of a tag. It's not because of it's because of when people hear it, they instantly go, oh, that's a DJ Mustard beat. And it could even be the case to where DJ Mustard didn't produce the beat, but other producers caught along to his style. And so because he stayed, so specific in this kind of tracks, he was able to be very unique in his sound, and other people started copying it, and they started, creating music that sounded just like a DJ Mustard beat. But the interesting part about that is Then he started creating more and more and more tracks. And it was no longer, oh yeah, DJ Mustard just sounds like this kind of party track or this kind of club track, the Rack City tracks, it doesn't just sound like that anymore. Now he's getting into like R&B. He's getting into like hip hop. He's getting into pop even. He's getting into all other kinds of genres. So he made a lane for himself where it was very recognizable for his style of music, but then he just continued to produce and continued to grow in his production. And now you couldn't really say that. Like, you could hear songs that he's produced over time and you could maybe pick out a DJ Mustard song, but there are plenty of songs where it's like, it doesn't have that unique sound that it used to have. And so he's like an example of where you have that one lane. You stay in your lane, you produce your music, you get your sound, you get popular enough to where now you can venture off and you can do other things and you can be creative in the ways that you want to be creative, right? And then you have the opposite, where it's like, I'm not only about one particular style or one particular genre of music, I just want to make hot music, right? And so I think about people like Timbaland, for example, where it's like, it's not a certain genre that Timbaland is creating. He was doing, R&B, but he was doing hip hop for Jay-Z and for, different artists. And so it's not just one genre that he was cooking, but it was like, whatever I'm cooking, whatever I'm putting out there, it's going to be tight. And so even though it's not just one genre, he also was able to develop a sound where it was very unique, where you could hear it and say, that's a Timbaland beat, but it's not just one genre, right? And so maybe you could find yourself as a producer that's like, well, I only want to create one genre of music, and that's fine. Or you could go the other path and you could say, well, I'm going to create my music in a way where it can fit all genres, or it could go to any kind of artist, because I'm just going to make sure that my music is hot. I'm just going to make sure that it sounds good. And if it sounds good, then everybody will like it. A benefit to being, as they say, a jack of all trades, a benefit of being a multi-genre producer, one benefit is that now you can be the go-to guy for any kind of production, right? You're not limiting yourself to a certain type of person, certain type of artist, certain type of singer. You're not limiting yourself to a certain type of song. You're just going, you're known for being a really good producer. So like in the producer community, I think of somebody like Tone Jones. Tone Jones beats are just tight. Like, Tone is just tight. His music is just tight. It sounds really good. It doesn't matter if it's a pop track, a hip hop track, R&B track, a gospel sounding track. Like, it doesn't matter the genre he's producing. He has his own unique quality of sound. Like, I think about his kicks. I think about his snares. I think about the way he does his arrangement. I think about just the quality of his sound. Many times he's inspired me in my production just because of the way that I just like how it sounds so crisp and clear and punchy. That's his unique sound is, it's going to sound really good. It's going to sound high quality, if you would. But he makes all types of genres, not just for rappers, but for singers, not just for singers, but for TV placement, movies, not just for, he doesn't bottleneck himself into one specific kind of style or one specific kind of sound or one specific kind of genre. So the benefit of that is now you can have multiple people come to you for different types of music. Whereas as a trap producer, and I'm not using trap as in like trap is like mediocre. Like, trap is not easy to make. Like, you still have to understand how to create the music and be able to get the bounce that is in trap. Like, you still have to actually be able to create that sound. So I'm not like using trap as like, the one size fit all. I'm just saying trap because that's the first thing comes in my head. But if I was to say, I only know him to be a hip hop boom bap producer, and we don't want something that slow for this project. The Levi commercial doesn't want a boom bap track for their new Gene commercial. This movie doesn't want a slow boom bap track. we can't use samples. We need something that we can clear without having to go clear samples. So it can't be anything that has sample production in it. We need it to be all original. Like there could be reasons for whatever genre or style of music that as a producer that you create, there could be reasons for why that doesn't fit. Right. There could be reasons for why that hurts you instead of helping you. So if you're a multi-genre producer, basically you can do it all. That's the idea. I can create pop. I can create EDM, house, techno. I can do hip hop. I can do jazz. I can do all of the genres as a multi-genre producer. So if any, not me, but like as a producer, you might say for yourself, when you develop that style, now you can swerve in and out of the genres when it comes time for you to produce your music, right? So the hard part about being a producer sometimes is the marketing, right? It's very easy to market yourself as a single genre producer, whereas it's a little harder to market yourself as a multi-genre producer, because some people are just not going to know you as that producer, right? They're going to know your sound more likely than anything else before they know you as the multi-genre producer. But I think about somebody like Anomaly Beats, where his sound is all about the piano. It's all about what he's able to do as a pianist. And whether he's creating something that sounds very jazzy or something more hip hop or something more R&B-ish, people know that the piano, the keys, that's going to be the star in the track, right? Or the synth line that he cooks up, that's going to be the star in the track, whatever it is. So it's more sound driven than it is genre driven, right? So these are some of the thoughts that I have when we're looking at addressing the question of, should you create multiple genres or should you only do one genre? Who would it be beneficial for, right? So as a new producer, there are some benefits for you to be a single genre producer. As a more established producer, and hopefully you can see like with some of the examples that we brought up, as a more established producer, it pretty much should get to a point where you're not limiting yourself to one style of music. Like I said, even if you love that style of music, even if that's the style of music that you like to listen to, but as you've gone through production and placement and you're selling beats and as you're going through it, it's like at some point you want to kind of hone your craft and you want to create it where it's like people know my sound or they know like my production style. And I can create, anything. So I have this genre that's locked down that like, oh, that's what I do all day, any day. And then also, if you have a singer that needs something, I can make something for them. If you have this product placement or if you have this sync licensing opportunity, we can make tracks for that too. And then there are benefits in terms of, prolonging your career or growing your career if you're not just tied down into one specific genre. Okay, so these are some of my thoughts that I have about this topic. I do want to hear some of your thoughts that you have about this topic. So please be sure to drop them into the comment section. Please be sure to drop them right now. I'm going to go start listening to them. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys after I see what you guys are saying about this topic. But yeah, my name is Chris Reed Beats. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace.